Today along my trail, we're going to visit an historic site in Lincoln County, Kentucky. It's a place where it's called Travelers Rest, and it's where the first and fifth governor of Kentucky actually owned. This was his estate named Travelers Rest. We're going to visit the little cemetery, the Isaac Shelby Cemetery today. We're actually on the property now. You go down a very, very beautiful tree-lined driveway. It's got big mature trees on either side. Sometimes it's got cornfields on either side of the driveway fenced off, and alfalfa fields. This is just a beautiful area of Lincoln County. In fact, Isaac Shelby loved it so much, he said that this was some of the most beautiful lands he had ever seen. He was here surveying and decided 2 years later that he would come back and bring a new bride, and they awarded him for his military service over 14,000 acres. So he had quite the stake, him and his new bride, when he came back to Kentucky. We are still going down the driveway. There's a little shot of the alfalfa fields. It happens to be alfalfa this year. This is still a beautiful estate. It is privately owned now, but it is an historic site in Kentucky in Lincoln County. We are now making the little turn back towards the cemetery. If you keep going straight, you go to the house, which they don't really like much. But now here we're going to the little cemetery. A shot back towards the house. What you will see there is what was more than likely the summer kitchen. They usually did a summer kitchen and the laundry. It was a room or building that was apart from the house back in those days. The original house that Isaac Shelby built here on this site actually burned. It was the first stone house actually in Kentucky, or one of the first, I think. But there's a really nice house that was built in its stead, and of course it's an old house now too, but it's a beautiful old house, very well maintained. Now we're back at the little cemetery. Another view back towards the house, and there's some people think it's a slave quarters, but most people think it was a summer kitchen and a laundry area. This little billboard explains a little bit about Isaac Shelby's life in a nutshell. I hope that you can pause this video and actually go back and look at some of the stuff. Isaac Shelby was a very busy man. He was a politician. He was the governor of the state of Kentucky twice. He was a military officer, but he was also an avid farmer and a horseman. Some of the wars that he participated in was the American Revolution, the War of 1812. He actually led the Kentucky militia in the Battle of Thames, to name a few. He was actually awarded a Congressional Gold Medal for his military service. Actually, some of the family owns the Millwood estate that you see here in the pictures today, which was actually given to one of Isaac Shelby's 11 children, a son, Ivan. It was given to him 600 acres, a little over 600 acres is with the property today, but it was given to him right before Ivan got married. So several of the properties were given in several large increment acres to the children as they were marrying. And then, of course, they built their own homes on them. This tells you a little bit about the cemetery, and we're walking up to the little cemetery itself. The fieldstone is very, very thick, very laid very well. Master masons. Very well maintained. There's a lot of mature trees that surround this little cemetery. This actually tells you who's buried in this little site. Isaac Shelby himself is actually buried here. He had a stroke in 1820 and he actually died a few years later in 1826. He was approximately 76 years old when he passed away, and he was actually buried here on the land that he owned and loved, Travelers Rest. The large monument in the corner is Isaac Shelby's, obviously. But it's usually very, very peaceful in this area. A lot of birds. Usually a lot of birds is out singing around this little cemetery. I'm trying to give you here an idea of how wide the walls are. And like I said, several friends and family members are buried here with Mr. Shelby. Kentucky would not be the state that it is today without Isaac Shelby. He was very proud of this state, very proud of his estate that he owned, and he worked from historical records tirelessly to try to make Kentucky a state. And I hope you've enjoyed our little tour, and thus concludes our visit to the Isaac Shelby Cemetery at Travelers Rest in Lincoln County, Kentucky. Thank you for walking along our trail with us today.